Hey there, guys. Richie back again. Today is Wednesday. So let's get started. What I want to go into is there's an interesting article about um, cryptocurrency and JP Morgan in particular. They've basically just admitted that cryptocurrency is here to stay. They believe that all the loopholes and so forth around blockchain technology will be filled in as time goes on. There are a lot of financial institutions saying that it doesn't have longevity. However, JP Morgan have stood there today, who have probably been one of the biggest promoters of negative activity around blockchain. And they've basically come out and said, look, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's a really, really positive thing for blockchain technology. By what I was reading, they're basically saying that with the help of the financial services, the blockchain technology is fantastic. However, it does have a lot of holes in it. And with their help, research, and money, they're going to fill in those holes and help enhance the technology, which is going to be great. I mean, if you realistically look at it, Goldman Sachs basically own Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. They've got major amounts of coin, and anyone that sort of begs to differ should do some research. Just look at January the 18th to the current day. So yeah, it's a really positive thing for blockchain. I found it really interesting because JP Morgan have literally been rubbishing blockchain technology, Bitcoin, and so forth for months and months and months. I'm sure it was a little bit of fear mongering going on because essentially what it does is it eats into their profits. But they're saying due to the market cap of the industry, they do believe it's going to grow. The fact that investors haven't been scared off with these recent retraces, they've basically done a flip 180, which is fantastic. It was a really, really good read. I'll link the news item down below for you to read if you're interested. Anyway, let's have a look at Ethereum. I'm going to make this really short and sweet because we're still ranging outwards on the markets. Nothing much is going on, literally. We've got Ethereum here. If you look at it, it's got a double top on it, which is not a good sign for anyone. That this nice double top here just means we're coming down further. Look, if we're going to be realistic about it, we are going to probably hit this. Remember, we drew these trend lines maybe a week or so ago. We're probably going to hit this trend line, I'd say, and it looks like it's in line with this this particular low, the previous low here. So if we draw a line over there, it'll probably hit somewhere there. Depending how strong a move down it is, we could actually see it hitting this long term, which would be significant on Ethereum. The fact is, and it stands, like pretty strong. The argument from the financial services is pretty strong that they deem Ethereum, Bitcoin, to be way overvalued. Hence, in my belief, the price is dropping down to a more rounded figure where they find it acceptable. Because if you have a look at any stock, any blue chip, any currency in the world, there's nothing that has value like this. And as a financial perspective, it does not make any sense either. It is, in my view, it's just a ride that everyone's been on. However, as you can see back here where my cursor is, that is around January the 18th where everything started happening, and then price came back down to it. We've mentioned, I've mentioned that the markets, the three Ripple, Bitcoin, and Ethereum are all moving in sync, and that's just unnatural. That's unnatural behavior in any asset. So someone has a large holding of all three particular coins, and they're causing price to fluctuate as it is. JP Morgan did mention, however, that we would see a lot more volatility moving on in the future. And, Goldman Sachs bought themselves an exchange the other day. There was a big purchase of Bitcoin. I think it was 96,000 coins purchased. Obviously, there's not too many people in the world with that kind of money that can just throw that down. And 96,000 coins is enough to really shake the market, either buy or sell. So that's things to keep in mind anyway as investors. Bitcoin is, as I said, look at this. It's the same. We're basically looking at the same charts. We're mirroring charts with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. Bitcoin's looking at a little bit better state of affairs. We still do have that double top, that nice M formation. However, unlike Ethereum, we haven't gone below the previous low, which is very positive. Ethereum has actually done that. We've got, I'm just going to scroll on here. That's the previous low. That's where price is now. We've got another, what have we got, an hour and 37 left on that. Whether it retraces or not is another story, but we'll have to probably check back at that at a later date. What else has happened in the world of crypto? Bunnycoin. Got a few questions about that. Why would people use industry token versus using Bitcoin? It's a pretty simple one: transaction fees. The other point of interest is if the adult industry catch on to Bunnycoin and they start paying their talent with cryptocurrency, then it would make sense to have an industry coin. Like, we've got car coins, we've got real estate coins, we've got banking coins, every single industry is adopting a coin. So it makes complete and utter sense to have Bunnycoin in circulation. So a guy commented on Edward's video regarding that, and I just thought I'd clear that up. Bitcoin is a source of gold for investors, whereas industry-specific tokens and coins are for the industry only. And I think it's a brilliant thing if we do have several different coins, because then we're going to have a lot of assets that we can trade off. At the moment, we've got tons. Like there's, however many, 1,500, 1,800 altcoins floating around out there. How many of those are going to last the 5-year mark? I'm not too sure. I probably would. I'll probably put it out there that maybe not too many. We'll probably see a decline of maybe, it's got to be around the 40 to 50% mark. I would say around the 5-year mark. In business, generally, you get to 2 years, great. The 3rd year is the really telling signal. 4th year, you're either done and dusted, or 5th year, you are definitely done if you don't have a solid business model. What I've personally seen in the ICO world is people starting up these ICOs that don't have business background. And, and you can clearly see that how they present themselves on YouTube or on Facebook when they're doing these live streams. Like if you're going to do an ICO and you're going to rake in $100 million, then at least hire a PR company or a marketing company so you're presenting that $100 million correctly. BankX was probably one of them recently where one of their, I don't know who it was, did a live stream on Facebook. It was just straight off of his mobile, and it's kind of not what you expect from a company that's just raised $100 million. Alarm bells go off, and look at what happened to their share price. Oh, not their share price, their token price. It went from, I think it was like $2 something USD. It's down below 50 cents. Which brings me to another point, I suppose, is why invest in an ICO when most ICOs, once they've hit an exchange, have fallen? Wouldn't it make sense just to wait for that price to fall, then buy in? There can't be that too much FOMO around this industry anymore. And I know that a lot of people want that next big Bitcoin sort of token or coin or whatever it is. But, we do have to think logically in these situations and do a bit of research. don't get emotions involved into any part of trading. Do a bit of research. Definitely look at the ICO. Look at previous ICOs and how they've reacted around being listed on exchanges. Then make your mind up from there, because you'll probably see a clear trend. They get released and they go like that. And then they'll take a few months. They'll release a couple of products or services or whatever, and then they'll start pitching up. There is no telling if any ICO is going to rocket up and go to the moon, as a lot of people say. So, as an investor, you definitely want to do your research. You definitely want to stack, like for us, if we backtest say an indicator in Forex, we're going back 2,000 bars. Over whatever time frame. We're literally, it's usually on a higher time frame, 1 hour, 4 hour. We're gonna go back at least 2,000 bars and backtest that, because you can't really, if you've got a probability and it says it's a 62% probability win-loss, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's 6.2 trades out of 10. Probability doesn't work like that. It could be over 1,000, it could be over 100, could be over 500. You don't know how long a time frame that was tested, that probability. So it's always worthwhile really doing a lot of research. And if the more research you put in, the more confident you feel entering a trade. And 9 times out of 10, you're gonna come out on the upside. Not everything in crypto turns to gold. I'll leave you with that. Anyway, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the comments as well. It's been fantastic. One more thing I would like to say is Edward is going to do Forex trade setups live in the coming weeks. We're just figuring out a time schedule, because we do both trade full time. We have other projects on. There's a lot of time being consumed during the day from things outside of our YouTube channel. So it's about trying to find and manage our time a little bit better. But I think we've got it pretty close to being figured out. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll introduce that, and that'll happen first thing in the morning. It'll probably go on for like 10 minutes. It's just our daily setup. And then we literally shut our computers down, go about our business, and pick up our mobiles and operate off that, with a bunch of alerts coming our way as we're crossing and lines and all sorts of stuff. So keep an eye out for that. I mentioned on the last video, it's always good to diversify your portfolio and don't have all your eggs in one basket. Having some in Forex, having some in crypto, having some in blue chips, having some futures, some options, whatever it may be. Spread your wealth across all. You definitely want to have your money working for you one way or another, and preferably in 3 to 4 different avenues. Anyway, thanks again. It's been a pretty easy vid today, because there's not much going on. I hope you found the information I've given you insightful, and really appreciate you following us. Thanks very much. Ciao.